Welcome back to another fantastic episode. I'm Samantha Harms with the Garrison Public Affairs Office, and it's been a while since you've seen me, but I'm excited to be back with the team, and we have an awesome episode scheduled for you guys today. It is all things back to school, so let's get right on into it on your great big podcast. Welcome back, Dr. Fey. We are thrilled to have you back on the podcast with us. You are the superintendent for the largest school district surrounding Fort Cavazos, Killeen ISD. So I know you got a lot to do, especially since it's almost back to school. We're almost there. So thanks for taking the time to sit down and talk with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So first, we got to ask the most important question. How was your summer break?
It was great.
Yeah?
I actually was able to attend the Army War College, which was really fascinating and awesome because they do a really good job with their talent development, which was nice to see a different lens of how to do that. And then I spent a week in Oregon with my daughter. She won her third consecutive national Nike title and competed for under 20 USA track and field and placed fourth. So it was a great summer.
That is amazing. Well, congratulations to your daughter. Very exciting. And that is so interesting and fascinating that you were able to spend time at the Army War College. What led you to going there?
I was actually nominated by one of the school board members, Oliver Mentz. And so I think that nomination came in the fall, and then it kind of came up on me quickly. And we were, timing was maybe not the best, but definitely learned a lot. Feel very good about our military after the visit. Not that I didn't feel good before, but I feel even better. And then got to spend time just working with or being in the mix of really highly intelligent leaders that lead very challenging situations and seeing their thought processes and how they push back on each other so they can get to solutions was really nice to see.
Yeah. Is there anything you plan to bring back with you to KISD?
Not anything specific, although I do believe that leaders in the system should, the takeaway for me is to be able to sit across from someone that you don't have maybe the same beliefs and maybe same practice of how to get something done, and just understand that there's always more than one way to view a situation and to problem solve situations.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thrilled that you had that opportunity.
Yeah, it was great.
It's incredible. So moving forward then, we're almost back to school. I cannot believe that it is that time of year again.
Yes, and I am very excited about that. I always say when the teachers come back, it's like this, a sense of relief. But when the students come back into our classrooms, it's like, okay, like all the work that we did all summer long, all of our planning and all of the leaders at the campuses and all their planning, it just kind of, it's the start button. And then, to see the journey of the year and how the things that we've planned will go is always fascinating. And I just always look forward to seeing the kids. So it's good.
That's awesome. So what preparations have you guys been doing in the weeks leading up to back to school?
Well, we have actually, there's a couple things. I would say the biggest thing that we're launching this year is a program called Capturing Kids' Hearts. And it's a program that is designed to build relational capacity, not only in the system, but across the system. In particular, how are we going to build relationships with our students? And an unintended piece that comes out of that is how do we build relational capacity with each other? And I think when adults can learn how to do that, and demonstrate and model that for kids is super awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. I've had a lot of experience in that environment, and it's a game changer. So looking forward to that.
How do you guys plan on implementing that? Is there some programs that we're doing, classes?
So actually it's district-wide. Okay. So we are training every staff member at KISD, including our bus drivers, obviously some of the training will be different. Teachers will get like a 2-day very intense, like how do you set up a classroom? How do you get students to have voice in how their learning goes, and then across the system, every bus driver, cafeteria worker, secretary, leader, we're all going through training. It looks a little bit different, but it has the same intention, and that's we serve kids. And we serve them academically so that they can have a quality of life when they leave us. And all of that starts with relationships, and it always has and it always will. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. We are fortunate enough to present to our board a couple weeks ago a balanced budget, so we're really excited about that, and giving some pay raises to our staff, which is awesome. So we're giving a 4% raise to non-exempt staff, and then a 3% raise to all exempt staff. So that was exciting because it was a little bit of a rocky road this past summer, and so but we're beyond that. And then we're launching our system scorecard, which is actually our strategic plan. Has three components: focus on student success, focus on our people, human capital, and then a focus on being financially savvy and being stewards of public dollars. And so it's exciting because it's something that has been a very laborious process, and lots of feedback looping that included our parents, our staff, our auxiliary staff. It took us about 6 to 8 months to really finalize that, and so it's finalized all the way through with all of, including what we call key performance indicators. So excited that we actually have a traction plan for how we're going to achieve those goals. And then we're actually going to be reporting out to our board on a monthly basis. So we'll report out quarterly on each different priority. So about where we are, where we're going, what are the obstacles, what are the challenges, what's something going good. And so we plan on doing that every month. And that's kind of a new thing for KISD, but I'm excited to bring that to the system. So, and then along the lines, actually, we developed something called the leadership definition last year, and that too was a couple months. We began in January. I think we rounded it out finally the end of May, 1st of June. Lots of different voices and components on that, and so that'll go live beginning day one for us, and we're really, really excited about that. And what does that do? What does a leadership definition do? It actually begins of anchoring all the work on human capital that we want to do, like leadership development and teacher leader development, AP development, so that they become quality principals, principal development, so that we ensure that we have the best possible principal in Texas sitting at the chair of those campuses, because the only position in the whole country, in the world, that makes an impact on kids is teachers, and the only other position that really has a huge impact on kids and their outcomes is the principal. And so that work is really, really important to me, and I think it's important to everyone to ensure that we have quality leaders in our system that can lead other teachers and lead other leaders. And so I'm really, really excited about kind of those three big things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Those are some incredible changes.
Yeah.
Very exciting. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to ask a little bit more about that, but we only have so much time, unfortunately. So I want to start asking you a little bit about the community involvement. So you guys have some changes that are coming. What should parents, students, what should we as community members be looking for to help you in achieving these goals? So
we actually, community involvement was a big change last year. Actually, not a big change. I mean, I think Killeen has always done a really good job of connecting with communities. We want to be as transparent as possible. Transparency means something different to everyone. So defining that is a little bit different across your stakeholders. But I think the big thing that parents can do is, number one, we need our kids in school. Attendance matters. Attendance matters because when our kids are not in school, they are not learning. And when you miss 10% of school, there's a huge academic gap. And when you miss 20% of school, that gap becomes bigger. And as you progress through the system from K or pre-K through 12, those gaps get bigger and bigger and bigger. And we just want to make sure that we really focus on that. That's going to be a big part of our work. We want to be partners with our parents and our guardians of our kids. I want everybody to keep in mind we we are doing the best that we can every day. And we know that the parents are sending us the kids that they love and they want the best for them. And so I think if we could partner with those two very intentionally about how do we together make our kids successful, then it becomes a really long-lasting relationship that we can keep forever. And so, yeah, those are my kind of ideas about how we do that work. But I really want to hit on attendance because it is a very big deal.
Yeah, that's something I've never really thought about before, that like how the gap can add up so quickly. Do you, I know a lot of people talked about the gap from COVID and all of the learning at home and then coming back to school and then going back home. Have you guys seen that gap has kind of started to maybe shift away, or we're back to
possibly? I would say possibly. You have kids that were involved in that are now graduated.
Yeah.
You have kids that were not part of that were born during that time who weren't exposed to that. They're currently in your system. And then you have that really unique group in the middle that some missed K1, 2, 3 because of the experience. And there's a lot of issues when a 5-year-old gets dropped off day 1 to kindergarten. There's this whole new life that they have to learn. And when they miss that and then that happens maybe when they're first graders or maybe even second graders, then that's their whole new life that they're learning basically 1 or 2 or 3 years later than everybody else in the world has. And so I think we're dealing with a little bit of that at our upper grades now because the social emotional growth has been delayed, and I think that impacts Tier 1 instruction in a way that it's not necessarily all the time about academic gaps. It's more about are our students prepared for the life of school? And I think we do a pretty decent job of that. We have lots of supports around that. But as far as academic gaps, you're always going to see bigger gaps when you're talking about your economically disadvantaged students, and that'll be a really big focus for us this year. Another part of the COVID slide I guess I can talk about is I think that because of the slide, we've been so focused on tiered interventions that we haven't really, we need to get back to our roots and really focus on solid Tier 1 instruction. And that is actually the biggest drive of the year for our staff and the development that we're doing is we got to get back to traditional, really great Tier 1 instruction. And so there's some challenges in that because we have a large number of teachers in the state of Texas, and therefore Killeen as well, who are coming in with no teaching background. They're coming in with a degree, and that's wonderful. But teaching is sometimes it's a science, sometimes it's an art. And it's very difficult. People come in really quickly and go, wow, I had no idea. And so I would say teaching's hard. And I want everybody to hear that because our teachers really do care about what they do. And it's not a profession, I believe, that's really favored, people look favor on. And I think we should. Of course, I'm an educator, so of course I'm going to say that. But teaching's hard. And I think you can ask anyone that's come in with a degree but didn't want to teach necessarily with their degree. They come in and they're like, wow, I didn't realize all the work with planning and scheduling for interventions and instruction and then just worrying about your kids, like worrying about, are you doing the right thing? What if they're not making it? And so teachers work hard, and I want to honor that because, and it was a bit ago when I was in a classroom, but when I do get to go in classrooms, I see the great work that we're doing, and I never want to discount or assume that teachers are not working hard. And I want everybody to hear that because it's probably the most noble profession on the planet. So.
That's I think really impactful. Everything that you said so this is kind of a little bit off topic, but if there was a piece of advice that you would give to some of those people who are getting into the profession now, whether it's one of your teachers or just somebody who's thinking about becoming a teacher who's listening to the podcast, what is the piece of advice that you would give them?
Invest in yourself. You're coming into a profession that impacts lives. And impacts lives for a very, very long time in a very positive way. I've never met anybody that didn't raise their hand. And, when someone says, who impacted your life? And it, either whether that teacher was your parent or a mentor or your boss, we're always learning from someone that's teaching us. And I would say invest in yourself and take advantage of all the professional development that's available at the district level, and then even development that's available online that, you can, there's lots of things that you can Google these days, but I think personal development and leading yourself is the key to all the other leadership that you're going to have to do when you have to maybe lead a friend, or you have to lead a group of teachers, or you have to lead a group of, APs, or as for me, you have to lead the entire organization. And taking care of the personal side of that and being very reflective of yourself and your practice is really important. And it's important every day in every role that exists at KISD and probably the country.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Well, you had mentioned a little bit about supporting students. So, of course, one of the big things that we always want to talk about is safety when it comes to especially the first day of school, but every day of school, buses and kids walking. So what are some of those tips, things that we should remind parents, people who are just driving by, the kids themselves, things they need to know?
First thing is there are school zones. Slow down. We can do everything in our power to make sure that kids are in the right place. But there's always going to be someone that gets out of place. And around specifically with traffic, slow down. I would say in the first couple of weeks, provide some grace for the district. We're learning new routes. Our buses are learning new routes. Kids are, they don't know when they're supposed to get off. And when you're talking about a 5-year-old, it takes a minute, and that delays the next stop and then the next stop. So we want some grace, and we will hopefully get it right. And things will settle down in a couple of weeks. I would say as far as safety at our buildings, KSD has done a great job in the past of ensuring that we have all of the state required safety mechanisms, and we have probably even more. We have vestibules that are, that you have to, kind of key in to get into, and then everybody has their ID checked on, even me, if I don't bring my school ID, I put my ID through it because get my little visitor's badge. And then, of course, we are working towards having a police officer on every single one of our campuses. And so I can't recall the number from last year or where we were, but we did hire a new chief, Chief Eric Hardorn, and he has done a fabulous job of growing his own. And so we are I believe we have 32 police officers, which is significantly different than last year. I just can't tell you the number.
That's okay. We've got 32 out of how many campuses?
We have 53 campuses, okay. And so we do share, but where we don't have official licensed peace officers, we have security because we contract that. So our preference is to have a licensed peace officer on every single one of our campuses, but we're definitely working towards that. And I would say Chief Hydorn probably has a model program for the state of Texas. He's done an incredible job.
Okay. And what are some of the tips that you would have for those people who are driving, let's say, around an actual bus, as we've got bus stops coming up? Things that people need to remember.
Kids get off buses.
Yeah.
Kids get on buses. Be mindful of that. If there's a stop sign, when the bus stops and they're going to let the kids off, I believe there's a sign that pops out. There's lights flashing. Pay attention, pay heed. There's been some terrible situations across Texas and our country of kids getting involved in accidents when our drivers are not paying attention. And so pay attention. Watch for the signs, the lights, the stop signs, all the things, and pay attention to where your school zones are. Even I have to do that. There's a lot of them, but when I'm in school zones, I really try to be very mindful of the fact that there could be a child, and even high school kids. It's not just the babies; it's high school kids, middle school kids. And even during the times when we don't have school zone, the lights are flashing. We have lots of kids that have after school activities at our middle school levels and high school levels, and they walk home. Yeah. And be mindful around those areas as well, because we never want any of our children to get in a situation where they're caught up in an accident with a vehicle or motorcycle or any type of vehicle.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you mentioned a little bit earlier about the raise that you guys are having for your faculty. Let's talk a little bit about hiring. Obviously, there are some people from the installation who are getting out, some service members who will be transitioning out, spouses, just people in the area. So are you guys hiring right now?
We're hiring every day, all the time. We're actually better. We're in a much better situation this year than we have been in the past couple. Matter of fact, I met with Assistant Superintendent for HR. We meet on a regular basis and talk about our fill rates. And so we're about 94% of our classrooms have teachers, like teachers in them, which is, I believe last year we were in the low 80 percentile. Wow. So that's significantly different. Very, very excited about that. And we're still hiring. We're always hiring. I know specialty teachers like dyslexia teachers, reading specialists, special education is a very difficult content to find or certification to find. So always we're hiring. And other than teachers, we're hiring administrators, we're hiring maintenance workers, we're hiring food services workers. There's a lot of, I feel like we kind of run this small little city within itself. We don't just have teachers, we have, people that understand business and finance and accounting and purchasing laws. And then you have a whole HR team. And so there's always opportunities at KISD. And we have about right at almost 7,000 employees. So It's the largest employer in Central Texas, I believe.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, is there anything else right now that you can think of that you are like, we have to talk about this when it comes to back to school, or just the first few days back, not just, back to school, like things that parents need to remember, kids need to remember, the community needs to remember? Anything you can think of?
Yeah, a few things, right? Okay. Is KISD wants to do the best possible job with your children, if I'm speaking to the community. Yeah. Our intentions are pure. It's a heartfelt profession. I always used to say as a high school principal, the greatest paycheck in the world is after graduation night, behind the curtain when the kid that maybe you've struggled with or been challenged with over time comes back and says thank you, because it's just a feeling that you can't get in any other profession almost. When you've impacted a child's life, it becomes, it becomes important, that the work you do, regardless of the paycheck. I want our community to love our teachers, to understand that they're doing the best that they can within the amount of time that they're allotted to get their work done, and give them some grace, because I believe teachers have the hardest job in America.
Yeah. Anything you want to say to parents? Now that we've spoken to the community a little bit, anything specific to parents that they should remember when they're sending their kids on the bus or dropping them off or watching them walk out the door?
I always want to say that our hearts are in the right place to do the best work that we can with your child, and always assume positive intent. Sometimes we assume that, our kids are being, disregarded or disrespected, or we're not giving them what they need. And I assure you, there is no teacher in America that doesn't want to give kids what they need. And so, that's it. I think teachers do the best they can. And we got to love them for that. It's a really, really tough job.
All right. Last but not least, any thoughts, advice for the kids? We're going back to school.
Yes, I do. And I've thought a lot about this recently, because I thought, if I was a child again, what would I want to know? Yeah. And obviously, I think a lot of people that get into education as a profession really enjoyed school. I was one of those people, right? I loved reading. I would go to sleep with a book in my hand, and that's not every child, but I would want every child to know that your education matters, because at some point when you leave 12th grade, if you stay in Killeen, the real world is right there the very minute you walk across that stage. Yeah. And so take advantage of the fact that you get a free public education. And there's lots of opportunities in our system for current technology programs, and all of those things matter. So every day, come to school every day. Come ready to learn, even on the bad days. We all have them, but we still want you here, even on your bad days. and we want you to enjoy your school experience. So that's my hope for kids.
I love that. That is a very nice hope.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I think that's all we have. So I want to say thank you so much.
Thank you
for spending the time with us and chatting about back to school. As I said, I'm sure you're very busy with things, so we appreciate it.
I am, but I love it. It's a great job, and I love being at KISD.
Yeah.
Yep.
Best time of the year, right?
Yep.
It's like Christmas, going back to school.
That's right. Good deal.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're cheating.
Let's not count.
You're cheating. Hey, y'all ready? You're cheating. Let's go pop some caps. Yo, grab my weapon. It's in the chair.
Final cheating.
Oh, man. Nice. Bang!
Oh. Easy up.
Is it loaded? Is it loaded? I don't know. Do you want to find out? Yeah, let's find out. What do you say, huh? Ever hear the phrase, treat every weapon as if it were loaded? It's clear. Don't be an idiot next time.
Hey, welcome back, guys. I'm Eric Franklin with your Garrison Public Affairs.
And I'm Eric Rodriguez with your Garrison Public Affairs.
Yeah, two Erics. I think this is only the second time that we've both been on the podcast at the same time.
I think so. We've known each other for a while. And
Yeah,
we've
but
been around
we
the
know each
area.
other.
But yeah.
So, the back to school, listen to KISD talk about back to school. That was pretty cool, man. Are you ready for your kids to go back to school?
I'm absolutely ready. My two oldest, they're already off. My eldest is off prepping to hit the Air Force Academy.
Okay.
Awesome. And then my other one's got a goal of hitting trade school after high school, and he's well on that path. So I'm excited. My youngest one, we just finished dishing out a whole bunch of cash for all the school supplies. Got the Paw Patrol backpack ready to go, and she's ready to start her first year. So I'm excited.
So what trade does your second oldest want to go into?
He loves building and construction in any capacity. That kid just likes to get his hands dirty.
Yeah.
He's awesome with, just having those tools in his hand. I've never seen a kid use power tools like that before, but he's like a natural fish in water right there.
So you go to him when you need something built.
You're right.
that's the way to do it. And how did your son talk you into letting him go to the Air Force Academy?
He asked me a year or two ago when he started thinking about military service, and I kind of broke it down to him. Me being a former enlisted member of the Army myself, I kind of explained to him the ins and outs of being an enlisted guy on the Army side, and the pros and cons, and some of the pros and cons I've seen from the other services. And I told him, first off, if you can do it, go to college and get a commission first. If you could go to one of the academies, that's the plan, and that's the best plan. Do that. And if you get the choice of which branch, go Air Force. And he listened, so I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, I mean, an Army guy at heart, I love the Army. However, if I knew then what I knew now, I probably still would join the Army. But I would still push anyone to see what they like, because there's some jobs in the Air Force that we don't have in the Army, or that they didn't have in the Army. So it's like you got to look at what it is that you want to do past the Army. And I think that's what's most important about picking what branch you want to go into and what you do, because you can come in the Army, but what do you want to do outside of the Army? So
Absolutely. And I'm Army through and through. I bleed green, right? But at the end of the day, you always want what's best for your kids. And to me, the quality of life in the Army is fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the quality of life in the Air Force is fantastic. But I'm just looking at the technicality and the jobs that he wants to do, and the kid wants to fly planes. I can only point him into one direction.
Yeah. We can warrant, but it's like at the end of the day, Other than that, so what do you have planned for this coming up weekend?
Well, myself, this coming up weekend. So I spent a lot of time doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I am one of the black belt coaches at Twin Wolves in Harker Heights, right outside Cavazos here. And so
there's a lot of soldiers that go there too, right?
We are packed with soldiers all the time. We actually offer free combatives and jiu-jitsu classes for PT hours for soldiers all across the post.
Okay.
So, and I'm a master trainer or master combatives trainer certified, so it helps. So we keep everything that's in the curriculum within the confines of what you want to be able to use on the battlefield.
Okay.
Always thinking about being in battle rattle with your sidearms and your weapons, because at the end of the day, we're not really fighting with our hands and our feet. We got a buddy with a gun, and that's what we need, right?
Basically, what you're telling me is if we go out, when we get done, we can go grapple. And we can see who can win. We can go. Matter of fact, we're gonna go into the West Atrium over here, and we're gonna get down. You ready for that?
Well, I mean, I fought to be on the back then Fort Hood combatives team once or twice, only to get beat out by the guy who won the overall tournament. So it was a loss, but it was a good one because it went to the champ. Shout out to Justin Vargas. Yeah, we can go run it back right now.
And now it's time to get you on track with your Fort Cavazos Minute. The Fort Cavazos Department of Public Health is conducting a Community Strength and Themes Assessment from now until September 30th. The Fort Cavazos Spouses Club is hosting a super sign-up event on August 29th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Samuel Adams Brew House. Meet spouses, shop, and learn more about the club. First-time commissary Click-to-Go customers get $15 off a $75 purchase from now until October 27th. Sign up online or visit the Clear Creek or Warrior Way commissaries. The Education Service Division is hosting a back-to-school education fair on August 22nd from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the Soldier Development Center. Free hot dogs, chips, drinks, and a chance to win a backpack, school supplies, and a tablet. Fort Cavazos students and community members can be recognized at the 27th Annual Consolidated Graduation Recognition Ceremony, October 24th at 1 p.m. at House Auditorium. RSVP by September 27th. For more information on all this, visit the show notes. I think that's about it for this week's episode. Is there anything else you want to say?
Nothing to add here. Good luck to everybody starting school. We can't wait for you guys to be out there getting those brains stuffed with all that good knowledge that we need, right?
Yeah, I can't wait to. My son's going. My daughter's going too. I can't wait. I'm so looking forward to it. Well, all right, guys. We like to thank you again for checking us out and listening to us. And as always, don't forget to like, share, comment, and comment on the Facebook page. And that's all we have. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Take care.